We start by taking refuge. Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Sangham Saranam Gacchami. I go for refuge in the Buddha. I go for refuge in the Dharma. I go for refuge in the Sangha. Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Sangham Saranam Gacchami. So we'll begin with our customary 15 minutes of seated meditation, and for you to chew on beforehand, what are the three bodies? We'll chant the Gatha on opening the sutras. This Dharma, incomparably profound and minutely subtle, is rarely encountered, even in hundreds of thousands of millions of ages. Now we see it, hear it, hold and maintain it. May we completely realize the true mind of all Buddhas. All right, so this evening we were going to have a talk by Minhui, and he unfortunately was on a train somewhere apparently, so you've got me. I've got a couple of phrases that I want to throw out at you. A couple of phrases. First one is mind makes everything. And the second one is things are not as they appear, nor are they otherwise. So back a few years ago, I taught a couple of courses, and one of them was on Bodhidharma, and one of them was called Foundational Buddhism. And we used Thich Nhat Hanh's Heart of the Buddha's teaching for the text in there. And at some point or another, I guess it was probably on the right speech section of the Eightfold Path. It makes sense if it were. He said something in there about making someone feel bad with our words. Okay. But here's a question for you. Can something I say really make you feel bad? For example, we can take any number of phrases that come out of my mouth, and there will probably be somewhere around 3 possible reactions. One of which is just, okay, fine. Another one could be, that Unsan, just being Unsan again. And the other one could be, ugh, what a dick. So, same phrase, same sentence, 3 totally different reactions. And when the students would, answer that, they would say, the usual, I suppose, response that, yes, of course you can, and it's not good to do so. To which I countered with my whole, shtick about making anyone feel any given way. And for the students that I thought could handle it, I would say at the end of my quiz response, or are you too stupid to see that? Now, obviously, that would elicit one of those responses. Indifferent, good, or running away crying. But my point is that we don't feel a certain way unless we tell ourselves to. We imagine things. We infer meanings where what their assigned meaning is and what the intended meaning is may be 2 totally different things. We make up a lot of stories in our imaginations. One of our Sangha members, who isn't here tonight, was involved in what's probably one of the worst natural disasters that's happened recently. And there were a lot of people who drowned, and, we're talking multiple hundreds. And his task afterwards was to go and help with the cleanup, which meant finding bodies that had been immersed in seawater for who knows how long, picking through rubble, picking through what used to be somebody's house, all these things. Now, excuse me. Now we can kind of think about what that was like. We can come up with a mental image of, excuse me. We can come up with a mental image of somebody like having to pick through what used to be someone's house and then maybe finding a body. But I would say that other than our friend and any of the other people who were involved in that cleanup, that none of our imaginations are particularly close to the truth. And I'm not just talking about the, sensory, visual of it. I mean, of the other senses, we probably really can't imagine the touch. We can't really imagine smell or taste. Maybe hearing. Maybe we can imagine that. But it's made up. Bodhidharma came from the West with a bowl, a robe, and a copy of the Lankavatara Sutra. And being as that he's the first patriarch of Zen, and he was lugging this sutra around with him, that you would think that a good number of our Zen teachings came from the Lankavatara Sutra. And one of them is this whole idea of mind makes everything. The Buddha says in the sutra that basically everything is made by mind alone. I'll say that again. Everything is made by mind alone. Now, before going down the road of, why, that's ridiculous, let's bear in mind that we chant the Bodhisattva vows every week, where we vow to help all beings. So a lot of these things that are to the nth degree, we have to go with them. Our mind is making up our impression. It's making up the impression about the natural disaster. It's making up an impression of all the little Hollywood Squares people on the Zoom call tonight, all it is that one layer back. It's not the thing, it's our impression of it, our perception of it, the judgment we make from that. We're just that one step removed. Some of the things beside that are in the Lankavatara are there's 10 big takeaways, and this is one of those sutras where you could really use a spreadsheet or a flow chart to keep track of the listed things in it. So it talks about the one path, and that, like Bodhidharma says, is pointing directly to our minds, our direct interface with, our direct experience of reality. Now, all of these mind-only teachings, as they're known, that all phenomena are manifestations of the mind, they're all projections, they're all imagined. This is from the Yogacara school, which is one of the roots of Zen practice. It talks about the Tathagata Garbha, which is the womb of all Buddhas. And that's that all sentient beings have the essence of Buddha nature. It talks about the three bodies of the Buddha, the Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Dharmakaya. And if you want to look into them further, you're more than welcome to. But it's, in a nutshell, the physical body, the reward body, and the Dharma body, or the ultimate body, the all-encompassing body. Sutra talks about not self, anatman, which we're familiar with. That there's no separate substantial self, as here's how it relates to the sutra. All sentient beings and phenomena are insubstantial to begin with. They're that one step back. They're the perception of, they're the impression of, they're the inference of whatever it is in reality. The sutra talks about the use of words and letters in teaching the Dharma, and how at the preliminary stage that they are absolutely 100% a requirement, and then as teacher and student progress together, there is the point at which words only get in the way. So it's mind to mind rather than, mouth to ear, let's say, or eye to page. Of course, the sutra talks about shunyata, or emptiness, the realization that there's really no difference between the observer and what's observed, because, that's right, all things are made by mind alone. Talks about no birth as a view of existence. And again, how can an illusion be born? Talks about the nature of the Tathagata. Just another name for the Buddha, right? It was the Buddha's nature, as opposed to just Buddha nature. This is the nature of that particular Buddha, the one who also was known as the Tathagata, to save all beings as a result of his waking up. And there's also, as if there wasn't enough controversy stirred up by all of those other things, there's also the concept of the influence of the Dharma on diet, as in a true follower of the way shows compassion to all sentient beings, and that would necessitate not eating meat. So if anyone wants to get self-righteous about vegetarian or veganism, you can always draw on what this sutra has to say. I personally am not going to say anything about that whatsoever, because anything that I have to say is an illusion anyway, and that was an easy way out of that. So we've got all this stuff, and it's all imagined, and it's all made up, and it's all a manifestation of mind, and it's made by our thinking, and we're really not quite in direct experience with reality for most of the time. Our perception of reality is, generally speaking, probably off. Although I do contend that in the realm of infinite possibilities, that every now and then you could nail it. But overall, our perceptions, our creation mind, our perceptions put us that one step back from reality. So, all this being the case, how do we get around it? How do we awaken? How do we save all sentient beings if we're always just that one step back? Zen Master Seung Sahn kind of gave us a little instruction manual for that. Just seeing, just hearing, just tasting, just smelling, just touching, just thinking. And it's not dependent on an outside object as far as the eye or, the skin or something along those lines. It doesn't necessarily involve whatever is being seen when just looking. What this sutra says, and what Seung Sahn is saying, is that there is no differentiation between subject, object, mind, that it's all before thought. When we stop thinking about everything, we've got a much better chance of realizing what really is happening. If we start thinking about it, we're taking steps further and further back. So just thinking, just seeing, just hearing, just tasting, just smelling, just touching. No differentiation between subject and object. Meaning there is no subject and there is no object. It's all bound up together. So I have one more question for you to close this out. What makes mind? right. So we will go back and have another 15 minutes of seated meditation. And what to chew on will simply be that. What makes mind? let's chant the Heart Sutra. Mahaprajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva when practicing deeply the Prajna Paramita perceives that all five skandhas are empty and is from all suffering and distress. Shariputra form does not differ from emptiness. Emptiness does not differ from form. That which is form is emptiness. That which is emptiness form. The same is true of feelings, perceptions, impulses, consciousness. Shariputra, all dharmas are marked with emptiness. They do not appear or disappear, are not tainted or pure, do not increase or decrease. Therefore in emptiness no form, no feeling, perceptions, impulses, consciousness, no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no color, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no object of mind, no realm of eyes, and so forth until no realm of mind consciousness, no ignorance, and also no extinction of it, and so forth until no old age and death, and also no extinction of them, no suffering, no origination, no stopping, no path, no cognition, also no attainment with nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva depends on Prajna Paramita, and the mind is no hindrance. Without any hindrance no fears exist. Far apart from every perverted view, one dwells in nirvana. In the three worlds all Buddhas depend on Prajna Paramita and attain Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Therefore know that Prajna Paramita is the great transcendent mantra, is the great bright mantra, is the utmost mantra, is the supreme mantra, which is able to relieve all suffering and is true, not false. So proclaim the Prajna Paramita mantra. Proclaim the mantra which says Gate Gate Para Gate Parasam Gate Bodhi Svaha. Gate Gate Para Gate Parasam Gate Bodhi Svaha. Gate Gate Para Gate Parasam Gate Bodhi Svaha. And let's do our personal dedications of merit. I've got a couple of people, and I'll leave some time open for you to add anyone you like. All sentient beings are one seamless body and pass quickly from birth to death. We remember those who cared for us and are gone, those who are ill, those who are at war, who are hungry, and who are in pain. May they heal and have peace. We especially dedicate our service to Brad Hunter, Mike Gingy Wood, Thomas Bishop, Neinthin Sinisuk. Anyone want to add anybody else in?
The man from the porch.
Anyone else?
Um, Clarice Ferreira, Joanne Sheridan, Bailey Sheridan, all those suffering at this moment from war and strife around the world.
And
a special one to the people of Palestine, and another one to a Panther elder who just got released from prison after 50 years serving his sentence on Juneteenth.
all beings in the 10 directions, subject to the greed, hatred, and delusions of themselves and others. All Buddhas throughout space and time, all honored ones, Bodhisattva, Mahasattvas, wisdom beyond wisdom, Maha Prajna Paramita. And we'll do our faith and practice vow. I will never retreat and will be firm in my mind in this correct Dharma. I will escape from the samsaric cycle of birth and death and definitely will see my original face. I will be sure to inherit the life of insight of the Buddha and save all sentient beings. Infinite realms of light and dark convey the Buddha mind. Birds and trees and stars and we ourselves come forth in perfect harmony. We practice and recite this for all beings in grateful thanks to our many guides along the way. And let's chant the 4 great Bodhisattva vows, shall we? Sentient beings are numberless. We vow to help them all. Delusions are countless. We vow to see through them all. Opportunities to awaken are infinite. We vow to embrace them all. The Buddha way is endless. We vow to embody it. Life and death are of supreme importance. Time passes swiftly by and opportunities to awaken are easily lost. Strive to realize your true nature and do not squander your time by night or day.